Hey guys, Dusty here. Welcome to Fantasy Footwear. Today I'm going to have 8 of some of my favorite daily trainers go head to head, or toe to toe rather, in a 3-round tournament to find out which is the best daily trainer. Competing in today's tournament is the Altra Torin 4.0, the Altra Escalante 4.5, the Asics DS Trainer, on running Cloudflow, on running Cloudswift, on running Cloudsstratus, Asics Dynablast, and Asics Novablast. In each round, every shoe is going to go up against another shoe in 5 categories. First up is comfort, which is quite straightforward. Which shoe basically feels more comfortable, which has the nicer ride, which has the nicer upper feel. And then the next category will be durability, so basically which shoe lasts longer. The third category will be responsiveness, so we'll basically be deciding which of the 2 shoes is more responsive, and in turn that shoe is also more likely to be more than just a daily trainer and also a speed day shoe and possibly a race day shoe. The fourth category will judge versatility, so which of the shoes is better for all types of surfaces. Can you do speed workouts like I mentioned before, or can you even use this daily trainer in a race? And then the final category will be value, so how much life are you going to get out of the shoe versus how much does it cost? And whichever shoe wins best out of those 5 categories will move on to the next round. So to keep things fair, I put all of the shoes in a random playoff bracket calculator, and this is how round 1 turned out. So let's get started with the Asics Novablast versus the Asics DS Trainer. So here we go, the first head-to-head of round 1. We have the Novablast versus the DS Trainer. So we'll get started with comfort. That's a no-brainer between these 2 shoes. The Asics Novablast easily wins this category. This is probably one of the most comfortable shoes in this whole bunch. The Novablast uses Asics' new Flight Foam Blast, and the shoe is a total joy to run in. It's super bouncy, super energetic, and one of the most comfortable shoes I've ever put on. Next up we have durability, and I'm going to give that one to the DS Trainer. I think overall it's going to be a little bit more durable of a shoe than the Novablast. I think this one is a pretty close category, but unfortunately I can't have any ties, so in that case, DS Trainer for durability. Next up we have responsiveness, and that one is a no-brainer. The DS Trainer easily wins that. The Novablast is just a bit too squishy, a bit too cushiony to really have a ton of responsiveness to it. So the DS Trainer, a very firm feeling shoe, takes the easy win in responsiveness. Next up we have versatility, and just like the last one, the DS Trainer easily wins this category. The DS Trainer isn't a trail shoe, but I find I can still take it on some lighter trails. It is more responsive. It does have a bit of posting, so it is going to be an option for those runners that need a bit of stability as well. And overall, there's just way more running you can do in the DS Trainer over the Novablast. Last up, we have value, and the Novablast comes in at 190 Canadian or 130 US, and the DS Trainer comes in at 160 Canadian or 130 US, and I gotta give it to the DS Trainer. Not only being a less expensive of a shoe, it's just way more versatile than the Novablast. And it looks like the DS Trainer is going on to the next round. We're moving on to the second head-to-head in round 1, the on-running Cloudswift versus the on-running Cloudflow. We'll get started with comfort. Now, both of these being from On Running, they both have built-in sock liners, which I find On Running has some of the most comfy uppers out there on the market. You can go barefoot in any of the On Running shoes because there is that sock liner built in, so you won't have any seams rubbing on your foot. Now with that set aside, between these 2 shoes, I think I'm going to have to give it to the Cloudflow. I think overall the Cloudflow just fits my foot so nice, and I really enjoy the ride of the Cloudflow quite a bit more than the Cloudswift. So for this one, it's an easy win for the Cloudflow. Next up we move on to durability, and that is a no-brainer. The Cloudswift easily wins this one. As far as on-running shoes are concerned, at least in my case, the Cloudswift is built like a tank. I've just gone over 400k in my Cloudswifts, and they look like they've barely been worn. If these weren't my shoes and I was looking on the outsole, I would probably guess that that runner might have like 100k on these shoes, definitely not 400. So definitely a testament to the durability of the Cloudswift, and the Swift easily takes the durability category. Next up we have responsiveness, and that's an easy win for the Cloudflow. The Cloudflow is definitely a more responsive shoe. It's just built more lightweight and definitely designed with a more faster runner in mind than the Cloudswift. Now we move on to versatility, and right off the bat I have to say that both of these shoes suck on trails. So if you've ever worn an On running shoe before, you'll know that you're definitely going to get rocks stuck in between these Cloud pods. Now the Cloud pods are one of the reasons that On Running is a great running company. It's a pretty unique thing that only they do. But with that being said, a lot of their road specific shoes are really bad on trails because you will absolutely suck rocks in like a vacuum. So as far as these two shoes, when it comes to versatility versus road and trail, both of them fail miserably. But with that being said, the Cloudflow is an amazing all-around shoe. This is a shoe that you can do easy runs in, long runs, speed work, and many of you could even race a lot of different distances in this shoe. So versatility, easy win for the Cloudflow. Last up we have value. Now the Cloudswift retails at 190 Canadian or 150 US, and the Cloudflow retails for 170 Canadian or 140 US. And not only because it's cheaper, but it's way more versatile, I gotta give the win to the Cloudflow. Okay, the third head-to-head in round one, we have the On Running Cloudstratus versus Asics Dynablast. First up we have comfort, and I'm gonna have to give the win to the Cloudstratus. First of all, it's an On Running shoe, so very comfy upper, built-in sock liner. This one has a gusseted tongue, which is always nice. This is On Running's more maximal cushion shoe, so overall just nicer of a ride than the Dynablast. Next up we have durability, and in this category I'm going to have to give the win to the Asics Dynablast. So the Dynablast for myself is a pretty new shoe. I think I don't even quite have 100k on this shoe, but I'm quite certain that I'm going to get more life overall out of this shoe than the Cloudstratus. I have a few 100k on my Cloudstratus, and I can kind of feel the midsole breaking down already. So while the Cloudstratus is a really nice shoe, durability wise, I'm going to have to give it to the Dynablast. Next up, we have responsiveness, and this is an easy win for the Dynablast. The Cloudstratus is just a max cushion shoe, and a lot of max cushion shoes aren't going to be competing in this responsiveness category. So easy win for the Dynablast. Likewise with versatility, the easy win for the Dynablast. The Cloudstratus isn't as bad as some of the other On Running models when it comes to trail running, but still road versus trail, you're going to want to choose the Dynablast. As well as doing speed work, tempo work, race day shoe, you're going to want to choose Dynablast over the Cloudstratus. Last up we have value. Now the Cloudstratus comes in at 220 Canadian or 170 US. And the Dynablast retails for 150 Canadian or 110 US. So these two shoes obviously have a massive price discrepancy, and just like almost every category before it, easy win for the Asics Dynablast. Okay, last up in round one, we have the Battle of Ultra. We have the Altra Escalante 4.5 versus the Altra Torin 4.0. So first up we have comfort, and that's going to be an easy win for the Torin. It's a much more plush feeling shoe than the Escalante, and I'll choose the Torin any day for an easy run over the Escalante. As far as uppers go, I find them pretty similar. I would still probably give the edge to the Torin. Next up we have durability. Now the Escalante is a new shoe for me. I don't have many miles at all on this shoe, but I've read some reviews out there where some people are saying that they have massive amounts of miles on their Escalante, which I'm very impressed with, as it's not a minimal shoe, but it's more of a minimal shoe than something like the Torin. So even though I haven't personally experienced it yet, I'm going to have to give the durability win to the Escalante over the Torin. And I also think that the Torin, the midsole, would probably wear down quite a bit faster just because it is such a plush, cushiony feeling shoe. I don't think that's going to last as long as the Escalante. Next up we have responsiveness, and that's a very easy win for the Escalante. The Escalante was designed more with racing in mind, especially compared to the Torin. Next up we have versatility. Just like responsiveness, easy win for the Escalante. This is absolutely a shoe you can race in, do speed work in, and I definitely prefer running faster in the Escalante over the Torin. I would as far as trails go, I'm not sure I would take either of these shoes on trail, but if I were to, I'd probably go Escalante as well. Last up, we have value. Now the Escalante retails in at 180 Canadian or 130 US, and the Torin retails in at 160 Canadian or 120 US. So even though it's a slightly more expensive shoe, I'm going to give the win in versatility to the Escalante. Now I knew before these shoes went head to head against each other that the Escalante would easily beat out the Torin as far as the tournament's considered. The Escalante is just a shoe that I really enjoy running in. I find it quite a fast feeling shoe, and it's, like I said, it's way more versatile than the Torin. So that concludes round one, and easy win for the Escalante. Bye Torin. So here are the results of round one. Now we're moving on to round two. Alright, first head to head of round two, we have the On Running Cloudflow versus the Asics DS Trainer. Now we'll get started like always with comfort. The winner of this category is the On Running Cloudflow. The upper on this shoe just feels fantastic. I hope one day all of you can try an On Running shoe on and see just how nice their uppers feel. But not only is the upper feel nicer in the Cloudflow, but just the overall ride of the shoe feels quite a bit nicer. The Cloudflow, at least in my opinion, feels quite a bit more cushioned than the DS Trainer. So overall, comfort-wise, easy win for the Cloudflow. Next up, we have durability. Now my first pair of Cloudflows, I think I retired them at about 400K, and I'm going to get way more out of that on my DS Trainers. So overall, I'm going to have to give the durability win to the Asics DS Trainer. Like I mentioned in round one, I love the outsole on this DS Trainer. It's just super durable. I haven't seen any breakdown in my outsole yet whatsoever. So durability wise, easy win, DS Trainer. Next up we have responsiveness, and this is a hard one for me, but I think between the two I'm gonna have to give the win to the Cloudflow. Now I would gladly take both of these shoes and do some tempo work or even race, say, a marathon in both of these shoes, but I think if I had to choose one, I would lean towards the Cloudflow. So the Cloudflow and all other On Running shoes have what's called a speed board in them. And it's basically a plastic plate. It kind of works like the carbon plates in all the super shoes now. And how it works is on every foot strike, that plate loads up and helps spring you forward. So I think overall that makes this shoe a little bit more responsive than the Asics DS Trainer. Even though this is still a very responsive shoe, it's super stiff and firm and very responsive. I think just the Cloudflow has that slight edge to it. Next up we have versatility, and up until now the more responsive shoe has won versatility in every other round so far. Until now, that is. So for versatility, I'm going to give it to the Asics DS Trainer. So both of these shoes, you can do easy runs in, you can do long runs in. They can be your race day shoe, they can be your speed workout shoe. So what else is there when it comes to versatility? Road versus trail. And this being an On Running shoe, you don't want to take it on trails. The DS Trainer, easily take it on trails. So easy win for the DS Trainer. Alright, so we're finally tied for the first time going into value. Now the flow is 170 Canadian, 140 US. DS Trainer 160 and 130. So the DS Trainer isn't that much less expensive than the Cloudflow, not enough at least to give it the win. So if I have to give one a winner when it comes to value, I'm gonna have to go with the Cloudflow. The Cloudflow being the shoe that I would choose to race in between the two, I just gotta give it to the Cloudflow. The DS Trainer I would choose over the Cloudflow when it comes to trails, but realistically I have trail shoes for running trails. Sorry DS Trainer. So the Cloudflow, moving on to the final. Now we move on to the second and final head-to-head of round two. We have the Altra Escalante versus the Asics Dynablast. These are two very different shoes. The Altra Escalante has a 0 drop, so meaning it's totally flat from the heel to the forefoot, and I believe the Asics Dynablast has a 13 millimeter drop, so from heel to toe it drops 13 millimeters, which is significant. So we'll start with comfort like always, and the winner of comfort is going to have to be the Asics Dynablast over the Escalante. Next up we have durability, and I haven't pushed either of these shoes to near the end of their running life yet. Both shoes have decent amount of rubber on the outsole, which appears to also be really durable rubber. And this one I'm going to base it on what I said about the Escalante in the first round. Some people are claiming to get 1,000K or more out of this 0 drop, kind of more minimal shoe. So for durability, I'm going to give it to the Escalante based on me reading those reviews, because otherwise I'm not sure who I would give it to. Next up we have responsiveness. Now when I first got the Dynablast, I would have thought that this shoe was one of the more responsive daily trainers that I had, but I love the Escalante for its responsiveness. So while the Dynablast is an awesomely responsive shoe, I gotta give the win to the Escalante. Now we move on to versatility, and I think I'm gonna have to give the win in this category to the Dynablast, and that's for a few reasons. First of all, when it comes to a race day shoe, for myself, I will never race in a zero drop shoe. I like a shoe with some drop to it, so that eliminates the Escalante right there. And for some other reasons, I will also choose the Dynablast over the Escalante when it comes to easy runs. So it wins there when it comes to types of runs that I'm willing to do in either of the shoes. The Dynablast just provides more options for myself. And I think I would also probably choose the Dynablast on trails over the Escalante. Lastly, we have value. Now the Escalante is 180 Canadian or 130 US. And the Dynablast is quite a bit cheaper, 150 Canadian or 110 US. So because not only is it quite a bit cheaper, but it's also more versatile, I'm gonna have to give the win in this category and in this matchup to the Asics Dynablast. Alright, here we are. We've arrived at the final round, the final matchup. This is the on-running Cloudflow versus the Asics Dynablast. Like always, we're going to get started with comfort, and comfort-wise, easy win, Cloudflow. Like every other round, on running always wins the comfort category. Amazing upper. Personally, a much nicer feeling ride than the Dynablast. I love the Cloudflow. That was probably my shoe of the year last year. Next up, we move on to durability, and that's going to be an easy win in this category for the Asics Dynablast. So not only is the Dynablast better on trails if you had to run on trails, but I also think I'm going to get quite a bit more life out of the Dynablast than the Cloudflow. Next up, we move on to responsiveness, and as far as daily trainers go, these are both very responsive feeling shoes. I think overall though, I'm going to have to give it to the Cloudflow because it's an on-running shoe. It does have that speed board built in, and I have just so much history doing all types of different running in that shoe that I know it's an awesomely responsive shoe as far as daily trainers go. So I gotta give the win to responsiveness to the on-running Cloudflow. Alright, now we move on to the fourth category, versatility. Let's find out if the Cloudflow can steal an easy win or if the Dynablast can hold on. So for versatility, both of these shoes I would do easy runs, middle distance runs, long runs, tempo runs. You could take both of these shoes to the track, do some speed work if you had to. Both of these shoes for a lot of runners are going to be really good half and even full marathon distance race shoes. But we're talking about versatility, so that's also road to trail. Cloudflow is going to lose that check almost every time because you're going to get the rock stuck in the outsole. So for versatility, I'm going to give the win to the Asics Dynablast. Okay, and here we are. It all comes down to value. So the Flow, 170 Canadian, 140 US. Dynablast, 150 Canadian or 110 US. Both of these shoes you can do all types of different running in. As far as trail running, you're going to want to choose the Dynablast. But for myself, for value, even though the Cloudflow is more money, it's a much more comfortable feeling shoe. The upper is so nice. The ride is really nice as well. So while I would choose the Dynablast for running trails over the Cloudflow is more comfy. I would choose it for race day over the Dynablast if it was a pure pavement race. So taking value and taking the tournament is the on-running Cloudflow. Honestly, I had no idea which shoe was going to win this tournament, and a lot of the shoes that were eliminated today, some of them I prefer over the Cloudflow when it comes to like an easy run, especially the Asics Novablast. I love that shoe for my easy runs. It's such a joy to run in. But unfortunately for the Novablast, this tournament is more than just what's the most comfy feeling shoe. The Cloudflow is an awesome shoe. It'll probably always be in my daily trainer rotation as long as on running doesn't ruin it in future models. So I'll also be doing one of these fantasy footwears with my racing shoes. I'll also take 8 of some of my best racing shoes and have a 3-round tournament just the same, just like I did today with my daily trainers. And please subscribe for more videos on everything running, and I'll see you in the next video.